When I first started to think about building a new campus, because I was very dissatisfied with the Granville Island space, I never imagined that we could get to this scale. But I knew in 2001 when I started working on it, I said, you know, this is where we have to be. This is a junctural point between the east and western part of the cities. If we can build a campus here that is custom tailored to our needs, we'll never look back. We'll finally have a home, because this institution is 92 years old and has never had a home. And so the idea was build a home, but build to the idealized version of what you want an art school to look like and be. And so it took 16 years, negotiations, discussions with differing premiers and differing ministers, and everyone was very gracious throughout, but it's not easy to get the amount of money that we got to build this. It's very difficult. We had worked for so long within a warren of small offices and spaces and studios. Everything was improvised on Granville Island. And even the South building, which was the newest one, built in the mid-90s, had outlived the use in the sense that there were so many more students than there were spaces for them. The minute I realized that this was being customized and that we had about 186 meetings with our constituents to talk through their desires, their feelings, what they ideally would want, and the specifications were built through those meetings, I realized that when you tailor something specifically to a discipline, or you think about space in relationship to use, it's not that it gets larger naturally, it begins to accommodate what it should have had before. In the design of the building, the height of the ceilings was a very important part of it. Expansiveness is a metaphor for the expansiveness of creativity. It's a metaphor for the expansiveness of the imagination. It's an encouragement to people to think out what it means to activate their fantasies. I think one of the things that often is forgotten by the population at large is that people love this place. There's a deep love for what this institution has done over the last close to 100 years. And how it's helped build the city. And in all cases, whenever we've moved from rental properties in the downtown east side to Granville Island and so on, we've always energized the spaces that we occupy. And the students who come here are so deeply happy, so enthusiastic and enthused about having the opportunity for the first time sometimes in their lives to really just let themselves go and create. That actually, without being too spiritual about it, sends a kind of effusion out from the building. And I've noticed that people have said to me, you know, I've come by in the SkyTrain, I've looked at this beautiful white glistening building, I thought, wow, that's what Emily Carr did. It actually says, we're building a new city. And I hope that the city of Vancouver takes advantage of what this offers and understands that if it actually deals with this as a pivotal point that really brings East and West together, they can achieve a great deal more with everything from city roads right through to transportation, through to the sustainable design that has made this building possible. The library is a reference point for something really interesting. It's an inflection space, I call it. It's 10% of the overall building. It's this hub to allow people to meet and talk. It's a real inflection point in the way in which people think about themselves, because you can go read the book about a particular painter, and then you can move from that to an effort to draw what they've drawn or painted, or you can read it just for the knowledge that you're going to get from it, or you can go to the computer and look up in Wikipedia. So you can actually slide between the various modalities of expression and information and sources of information, and in that you're learning without having to be told to learn. So the library is about a space that encourages you to feel that learning is everywhere. It'll be 22 years. New people are needed, and in some senses, had the project not taken as long as it did, it might have been less time. But I think this is the time for a new group to come in and a new leader to come in, and maybe that new leader look around and say, what the heck did he do? And I'm fine with that. I think that change is healthy, and I encourage it in everything I do, and I encourage it in my own life. I'm just finishing one book, and I'm working on 2 others. I'll spend part of my sabbatical completing the first book, and then come back the year after as a professor and I ideally work with graduate students because it's one of my specialties. The etymology of legacy is really about departure. And my legacy, I think, if it's anything, should be that I will have left some degree of creative energy in my own person and what I've done as a residual part of the fabric of the institution. The building is only the enclosure. But if there's some measure of the intensity with which I feel what these disciplines do and how important they are, if that residual intensity is sustained, and that core, if it stays, well, I believe that would be a real legacy. So it's not about who you are or your name or any of those things. It's about, again, something that's a bit more ephemeral, which is the residual impact sustaining itself over time.